Hey folks, welcome back to DCS. Yesterday evening at about 9 PM UK time, Eagle Dynamics dropped the 2025 and Beyond trailer. They teased this a way back now, saying that it was going to be January the 16th, so I've been literally counting the days, hours and minutes until this dropped. Really hyped for it, just to see what the future of the game holds. Now my initial intention was to record a watch party that I hosted on the Discord so that we could get like a bunch of different people's feedback bouncing back and forth and have a little bit of a discussion about it, but what ended up happening was way more people hopped in the Discord channel than I expected, and especially given the news at the end of the trailer, I really struggled to get any words in edgeways.
What?
What?
Excuse me?
What?
What?
Excuse me?
Excuse me?
Hello? No.
Fuck me.
Is it April 1st? Is it April 1st? Quickly, check
No.
the calendar.
No fucking way they're trolling.
That's impossible.
So what we're going to do instead is scrap that video, and we're going to I'm going to hop in a Discord channel with my Discord moderators. We'll watch the video back through and we will discuss elements of it, and it's going to run kind of more like a podcast than my usual content, so feel free to have it just running in the background and listen to it rather than watching it. I will hop in the Discord channel and we'll get on with it. So the first thing for me was I kind of wanted them, I don't even know how they'd have really showcased it, but the lack of any mention of Vulkan I thought was quite a disappointing thing for the trailer.
As in, like, API?
Yeah, because they've been, you know, with multi-threading and all that sort of shit, like the whole idea of that is that it's supposed to be about optimization, isn't it? And in the trailer we saw the dynamic campaign and all this ground warfare stuff. I don't know if these better explosions are meant to be like actually coming to the game, or if it's just part of this, and there's some good lighting effects and stuff, like
I think
light from the fog and the fire and through the trees and missiles overhead and all that sort of thing. Is that Vulkan? Are we getting it? Who knows?
I think it could be, because the lighting was so good that it could just be It's a bit difficult to showcase the Vulkan API through a video.
Yeah, I know. Like they didn't really put any text, any annotations in there or anything, did they? So maybe we'll get another news, a letter about it or something. But yeah, I would have liked to get some kind of closure on where we're at with that, or just multi-threading or optimization stuff in general.
Yeah, it would have been nice, especially in VR.
I think, to be fair, since it's already been announced, it's just sort of the usual work is still ongoing kind of thing.
I don't know if it's just the new volumetric fog making the lighting seem a lot better than it is as well.
Yeah, I thought that as well. That is a potential other thing. The other thing that I was going to mention is that there was no footage for a lot of the modules that we know are in the works, and I assumed at least a few of them were a lot closer along. Like, apparently the LA7, and I'm not a World War II guy, as you know, but the LA7's basically supposedly right around the corner. I don't think that features at all in the trailer, and I thought that was quite an odd choice. There was no update on the Tornado, because that one that gets shot down, if you like freeze frame it, is it very clearly the AI, like low poly one that looks like ass. There was no mention of the MiG-17, which has been in production for ages now, and there's already mock dogfight footage from the developer on YouTube, so you'd have thought there'd be something a bit more workable on that front. There's the A6 and the A7, and I feel like there was another one that I'm missing, but
The Corsair.
Oh, the Corsair does show up in the
Yeah,
video.
It shows up like a second, doesn't it?
There's also that there is a 0 in the footage, but I assume that's just AI, but that's pretty lame. Like, I don't get why they're even bothering to develop Pacific Theatre World War II stuff if there's literally no Pacific Axis Force aircraft at all. That just strikes me as pointless. Do you reckon we should read into the lack of any of those things being shown as being like that they're actually further away, or what?
In regards to the intrusion stuff, that's coming after the Eurofighters, so the Eurofighter probably took priority in the video.
You'd have thought they'd put like an AI shot of it in there at least.
Yeah.
I think they just wanted to sort of focus on more modern stuff in the trailer, it seemed like. That seemed to be the vibe they were going for with sort of folder. They're showing a lot of Germany.
Yeah, the map looks good. I did have a talking point regarding the maps as well, because I think a lot of the people that we speak to are people who play online. And if you're an online player, then a lot of the maps kind of feel like a bit of a waste of money because so few servers actually seem to run any of them. Like I bought Sinai when it came out, and I've literally flown on it like twice because Tempest server ran it on day one of release and then just basically never touched it again. And now that server doesn't even exist. So, like, I want an excuse to buy South Atlantic because it sounds cool, but there's nowhere to fly on it.
That's where I think the dynamic campaign will come into play for the less used maps that you're not getting fun out of on multiplayer. I mean, it needs to have co-op.
Do you reckon the servers will be able to run the dynamic campaign? And if they can, like, what will that make the online player base, like the scope of the server options actually look like? Because, you know, at the minute, like, a lot of servers have sort of adopted Enigma's way of doing things and then just kind of adapted it a little bit. Well, if they all just start running the dynamic campaign, it's going to basically just be the same, isn't it? There's going to be nothing to differentiate. There's going to be no different, maybe apart from what aircraft or weapons are available, perhaps.
Yeah, an era.
But I don't think they will do that. I mean, at least not like PvP servers, because I mean, if you think about it, I'm not that well nuanced in what all the different ones are. But if you think about like Shadow Reapers and Flashpoint Levant, for example, like some of the PvE ones, like they're already all pretty similar already. Like they're all just, you know, there's a point here, go kill the star.
That's what I mean there, like,
what's the next thing? So, but you know, I don't think they're going to throw, like, people who've made those are going to just, you know, drop all their tools and go, oh, well, dynamic campaigns. So.
Do you think that there'll be, like, elements of how the dynamic campaign works that servers could, like, take a snippet of and put into a different, like, mission set or something? Like, say if the dynamic campaign flashes out how logistics work, which I assume it must do if they've shown the Hercules doing airdrops and stuff. Maybe they could take that element of it out of the dynamic campaign and put it into something else, like rather than, you know, all these mission makers have got quite good at scripting stuff that doesn't otherwise exist in the sim, like the recon mechanic in Heapler's Cold War server, for example. Maybe they could take a mechanic from the dynamic campaign and then use it in another mission. I guess it depends on how they've done it.
Yeah,
there might be tools that are useful. It's funny you mentioned like cargo and stuff, because that seems to be the way they've been going lately as well, with things like the
Chinook.
Or dynamic warehousing before the Chinook, I think, and or with the Chinook, I can't remember. And like all of the cargo transport stuff that goes with that. There might be tools or whatever that come with that update. It's still super early, I guess. Don't really know.
What were your first impressions seeing the video yesterday?
I was surprised that we didn't see a lot of the stuff that we know is coming, like new F1, 104.
Oh yeah. Well, they did show the F1, but I have no idea which version it was.
Yeah, it was a quick shot of the side of a. You'd
have thought they'd have like shown like the cockpit, like MFD or something, wouldn't you?
Oh, for the F1M, yeah.
Yeah, it was a shame that we didn't see more about the jets that we know are coming. Obviously, we saw a lot of the Typhoon, which we know about, but yeah, I'd like to have seen a few more things about the F1M. And
because you're late. the F104 as well. You've just reminded me. There are cockpit, like high-res cockpit shots of that now. But there was nothing of that nature either. But yeah, I already went over the fact that we've not seen the MiG-17, the A6, the A7, or the LA7, which is apparently like super close to release.
Yeah, they seem to have neglected World War II a little bit in the trailer.
Yeah, they really did. There are a few snippets of it, but it doesn't really go anywhere, does it?
I like the look of the new infantry models in general they had. They had the new guys in MTP, and I think it was a new insurgent model.
Yeah, and they actually, like, their legs move when they run, which is a nice change. No more gliding. I just want to see if the AI reacts better. Like, it's all well and good showing them just kind of running in a straight line in slow motion, but why not show them, like, getting shot at and, like, diving for cover or something?
Yeah, they're going to look fantastic as a spec in my teapot.
I think, again, though, it's sort of, it's not really catering to that. It's catering more to, like, you know, the Chinook audience or the Apache audience or whatever, and guys who like doing that kind of combined arms stuff, so that you can and powered and like maybe potentially down the line like powered troopers and stuff for the 130. It's not about like looking in through the teapot. It's about giving you a better sense of immersion when you're flying helicopters or you're doing logistics or you're trying to make a campaign. But no, I mean, in general, I think like if we're going back to the trailer, I think the trailer was actually cool. We got some new shots of the MiG-29. I thought the shots they showed of the MiG-29 looked really good.
Yeah, the MiG-29 looks good. I'm hyped for the MiG-29 and I'm hyped for the F-100. And I do feel like we got enough of both that it feels like they're probably not too far off. I know the MiG-29's being slated for Q2, which seems pretty reasonable based on what we've seen of it. The F-100's apparently about 70% done, according to Grinelli's website. We've seen gun cam footage from a video like last week, in that like real, well, I can't remember what they called the video that they released, but I think the main crux of the whole video is just the F-35 and the sort of hypocrisy of them making something that's from 2015 and after spending a year upon year saying that they can't develop something like the Super Hornet because there's no documentation for it.
But surely they like, you know, on the one hand, yeah, like what's different now? But I mean, the other takeaway from that is just, well, clearly those things are now more plausible. I kind of get like the whole point where it's like, oh, well, if you're doing this now, why couldn't you have done it before? Surely that's not the takeaway. Surely, like, if you're trying to be optimistic about it, the takeaway is now like, oh, they're doing an F-35.
I get where you're coming from, though. In theory, this is a sign that, well, that means the stuff they've said no to historically is now potentially a yes.
And that's what they've said about, I think I saw, you know, something somewhere about a flanker.
Yeah.
A model. It's a good thing, overall. You can be grumpy about it and be like, oh, well, why didn't you do this before?
Yeah, this could mean that, well, in which case, once the MiG-29 guys finish, we could stick them on a full fidelity flanker, for example,
Well,
which would be fantastic.
If they change the tune and they're going to go with guesstimations on certain aircraft, just so we can get more variety in the game, that's only better for us in the long run.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what traditionally like this community, or like your community has always said anyway. The majority, like the loudest voice, the loudest minority.
I would take a slight cutback in realistic sourced stuff for the sake of more variety, but it surprises.
An extreme example.
That's what I find really weird though, because the people that would normally be against my opinion of this sort of thing, where lowering the fidelity for the sake of variety is something that they would frown at. The F-35 is like the ultimate leap in that direction, because there's no way possible that they could make it 100% true to life, and they've even admitted as such in the FAQ that they posted. So who is it for? Because the people that want it shouldn't want it on that basis. I just can't wrap my head around it. It seems like just a contradiction of terms.
Yeah, I feel like 4.5 gens should have been the ceiling of, if we go anything past this, we're probably just going to have to start making stuff up.
Even when they announced, even when they announced the Typhoon, I was like, yeah, but can they really do that though? Because I mean, to be fair, it's not even that new, is it? Like, when was the Typhoon's first flight? Like, early 2000s, late 90s, something like that.
90s, I think.
Even older then. I don't know. It just seems like a weird situation to be in. Personally, I would rather them focus like pre-1980 and just flesh out that area of the game, because it's already the best represented as it is. And I feel like there should be more variety available with more available source material that they could go at, like all sorts of shit. It just seems weird.
I think the takeaway though overall though is that, you know, ultimately you get all this stuff put in the game, and we're gonna get this new thing like the dynamic campaign. DCS is a sandbox. It's kind of what you make of it. You know, if you think the F-35 is too arcadey, or like it's just not your thing, it's like, alright, go like do whatever you want to do that doesn't involve that.
Do you think there's any chance that they've made such a massive grand gesture of something that's kind of unexpected could have just been to like divert attention away from like general negativity, like the fact that RaZBAM have left and all this sort of shit? Like maybe they're just saying, never mind about that, look at the F-35. And now they've just completely changed what the debate was about, because even though there was a lot of the dynamic campaign shown in the trailer, I actually haven't seen a single person talking about it, because they've all just been talking about the F-35.
I do think the F-35 was a business strategic decision. It's going to sell well. There's going to be a huge fan base for it, and it will benefit the business. But I agree with McGuire. I do think overall it's a positive direction they're going in. But I do feel like it's very much a strategic. It's going to improve the narrative the way we want it to, and it's going to do well as a module. But it's not just been done for that reason, I feel. I hope this means
it kind of hits me like when you've been a fan of a band for like years, and you've gone to see them on tour, and you've bought every single album, and then they announce that they're releasing a new album, and you listen to it, and it's like they've totally changed, like, you know what I mean, not genre, but they've like appealed to a different audience to get more money. That's what this feels like to me from Eagle Dynamics, especially after reading the FAQ. And I'm just worried that it's going too far off kilter from what everyone that's here for it now is here for it for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it'll be a good thing. Who knows? Kind of want to see more, like an actual, like maybe a WAGS video about the dynamic campaign, just to see how that's actually going to work, and if it's modular or not, if people can take bits from it or not, and if like what our expectations should be for the F-35, like some sort of actual podcast or something talking about how they came to the decision to work on that.
I think he said he was doing a Q&A or something.
Okay,
soon.
well that'll be interesting then. I guess we just got nothing left to do but wait and see how it develops.
Yeah, I think like the whole narrative changing like thing about like the RaZBAM might be part of it, but also like it could also just as easily be like a little, you know, like Murray was saying, just like happy little coincidence for them. Because before the Strike Eagle, didn't RaZBAM actually have quite a shitty reputation anyway?
Yeah, I saw a Reddit post about this where someone actually got really heavily downvoted for saying that everyone used to shit on RaZBAM, and I was like, have people just forgotten? Like, I've only been playing DCS since about 2019, and I remember when I first came into it, everyone thought RaZBAM was shit. And then they overhauled the Harrier, and then they overhauled the Mirage like 2 times. They overhauled the MiG-19's flight model at some point, and then after that everyone couldn't show up singing their praises. And then South Atlantic and the Strigel both dropped pretty much at the same time. And then it's almost like they've been elevated to like heat blur standard, and then it all just came sort of crashing down almost immediately.
I'm just happy that, you know, we got the full-fit Eagle, we've got the 35, we've got the Typhoon, and we've got the F-14BU, and the Fulcrum, and all of the new, like, you know, East Afghanistan and folder, which is being done by UGRA, I think. Same with lidded Syria.
Yeah, that should be
so
new standard then. Hopefully,
like,
I just hope that like servers adopt it.
But
so
you've got
can actually play online.
But my point being is you've got all of these like seemingly like great, or you know, whatever your perspective on the 35, whatever. Like I think it's all great. Like you've got all of these new things coming. They're all coming from developers that are all just like sensible or ED themselves. There's no risk of it. There's no risk to the consumer. It's just like
that's true.
It just seems really like it's just a really sort of like safe but good direction. Do you know what I mean?
I do feel like everything that we've seen in this trailer, I do actually believe that we will actually get.
Yeah, there's none of it's like, oh, that looks cool. I'll see that in 6 years. Like,
I think that all of the negative stuff that's been happening in the last year has just made me feel really jaded about the future of the game. And being presented all of this stuff that seems like, I don't know,
safe.
It almost feels like too good to be true.
As an overarching end to the video, then, what's everyone's most anticipated takeaway from it?
For me, I think the F-100's top of my want list at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Mine's the dynamic campaign and the underlying systems behind it. Hopefully, fingers crossed with co-op as well in the future.
Yeah, I think so too. I think dynamic campaign's probably the biggest one for me, and then like if it had to be like a jet, maybe the 15 or the Euro. But I mean, to be honest, I'm I was very pleasantly surprised to see the full fit 15.
Yeah, me too. I feel like the F-35 actually kind of overshadowed the fact that we've got the F-15C. If they'd only announced the F-15C, I think I'd actually feel more hyped. Because I feel like the F-35 is like a bridge too far, and it's just like, did they really need to even mention it right now? And just they could have just left us with what there is.
From a like, I think though, I mean, like, we're wrapping up, but I mean, from a PvE, maybe not from a PvP perspective, because obviously
it'd be too good.
But like, from like a PvE perspective, if you just, if you're the kind of guy who looks at Microsoft Flight Sim and you're like, all the shit in there looks cool. I like the graphics. I like that it's, flying jets with reasonable flight models. What I don't like is that there's no bombs or missiles to drop or shoot.
Yeah.
So if you like all that stuff, it's like the perfect
DCS.
sort of marker. Yeah, it's like the perfect little, segue. Be like, oh, what's that over there? And they want to sort of relax and fly around and drop some bombs and do whatever, and they're not that fussed about anything like that. I think this is good.
I think it's branching towards a more casual market.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think you make what you make of it. You get out of it what you make of it. Like it'd be like looking at Heat Burst Cold War and going, why haven't they put the F-16 in it? It's like, well, obviously they haven't put the F-16 in it because that's just not where it belongs. So, like, even if they add the 35, you're not going to see the 35 in, like, 80s or anything like that, are you?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah, it's very much avoidable. I'm surprised the amount of backlash from people going, I don't want to fly against the 35.
It's like,
you don't have to.
You're not gonna.
Yeah,
Good.
All the feedback I've seen is just like people being incredulous about how they're possibly going to implement it, and like, I recorded our watch party yesterday. The only part of it that I'm going to include in this video is the actual F-35 reveal, because everyone is just like, what? Like there is the reaction isn't oh my god, that's awesome. It's what the fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I think it's the same thing though as like with the spotting dots being made server side. So like there was loads of fear when it first came out, when it first got implemented, like, oh, how will it ever be consistent? How will I ever know, like, what size my spotting dots are? Like everyone can just, change what size they are on their servers, and I won't know what I'm looking at, and it will suck, and it will be really bad. And if you go look through the server list, because I checked it yesterday, because I was curious about this,
it'll tell you.
It tells you. And if you go look through all of the most popular servers, they are all on auto or 2. Or local. They're all on that. So I think, you can just trust server owners to be relatively sensible and not pitch an F-35 against your MiG-21. Although that comment I saw on the YouTube video was really, really funny, where it's like, it's gonna have a hard time. Like I was saying, it's a sandbox. You just, you'll get out of it what you make of it.
All right, well, let's wrap it up there then, because I think it's gone over a bit more than I expected.
Yeah.
I'll try and edit out all the fluff, and we'll just wang it up and see what people say, I guess. So thanks for the contributions. Any closing thoughts?
I look forward to the comment section.
Give me the thing.
There'll be more green maps.
Yeah, more green maps. All right, cool. All right, let's leave it there then. Cheers. I will see you in the next one. Before I go, if you've stuck around for this long, I'm unlikely to be around as much for the next few months because we actually just finalised our house sale, but we haven't actually found a place to move into yet. So we've got to be out of here by the end of January, and we've not got a place to move in, so we're actually staying with family. We're having to put all of our stuff in storage, and we've got a massive skip outside right now to empty the house out. Everything's going to be pretty manic for, I don't actually know how long, it could be months, but I'm going to set my computer up at my mum's house, which is about 40 minutes away, and I'll try and get over there at least once a week to put a video together, but I honestly don't know how realistic a suggestion or a thought that is. I apologise in advance if you don't see me for ages, especially to the members. If you decide to all leave, then I understand, no hard feelings, and we'll pick things back up once the house move is finished, unless I do manage to somehow keep it all running in the meantime. Fingers crossed. Thanks a lot for being here and supporting the channel. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one, whenever that ends up being. Cheers.